Welcome to the English to Communicate YouTube channel. My name's Diane Dow, and this is an introduction to the Idiom of the Week series. So let's start out and talk about what is an idiom. Well, an idiom is an expression that cannot be understood by knowing the meanings of the individual words in the phrase. The phrase or idiom has a unique meaning that is not equal to the sum of the words. So let's think about what are some different types of idioms. Basically, there are two types of idioms. The first type would be phrases or set expressions. The phrase means something different than the individual words convey. Let's look at a couple of examples. If I say, let the cat out of the bag, I might know the meaning of each of those words, but the phrase means something completely different than the words convey. To let the cat out of the bag means to tell a secret, to reveal something that's hidden or that wasn't supposed to be said. It was supposed to be a surprise. So maybe I say something and then I say, oops, I let the cat out of the bag, meaning I ruined the surprise. I told what was supposed to be hidden. Another example would be, what's up? When I say what's up, it doesn't mean I'm looking up to see if there's something on the ceiling like a balloon. Instead, it means what's happening or how are you doing? It's an informal way to ask someone how they are. The second type of idiom would be phrasal verbs. These are verbs plus a particle or a preposition, and that particle or preposition changes the meaning when it goes with that main verb. So for example, let's say I have the verb throw. If I say throw up, it means to vomit. But if I say throw away, it means to put something in the garbage. Another example would be the verb call. I could say to call back. This would be used if someone telephoned me and I returned their call. I would say, oh, I called John back, or I called him back. I could also use call in. This might be used when maybe I'm working on a project and the boss has some questions and he calls me into his office. So I could say, oh, the boss called me in, which means he asked me to come and meet with him. A final particle or preposition that could go with call would be call on. So for example, a teacher could call on a student, and the student raises his or her hand, and I say, oh, go ahead, and I call on them to let them answer the question. So we can see that phrasal verbs are another kind of idiom because the particle or the preposition makes a difference in what the phrase means. So those are the two basic types of idioms, but what are some categories of idioms? The first category of idioms would be pure idioms. This is the type of idiom where the phrase is not clear as far as meaning from the individual words. It's not transparent. The meaning maybe has nothing to do with the actual words. So for example, if I say, pull someone's leg, I'm not actually pulling their leg physically, but what it means is to tease or to joke. And so maybe I say something and then I say, oh, I'm pulling your leg, meaning I'm not telling you the truth. I'm just joking with you. I'm teasing you. And in that way, I'm not really telling them the truth or the reality, but I'm just making fun. I'm having a fun time joking with them. Another example of a pure idiom would be make off with. So for example, let's say a group of thieves robbed a bank and got $2 million. And I said, well, they made off with the $2 million. It means they escaped. They were able to not only steal the money, but they were able to get away and not be caught by the police. So these would be a couple of examples of pure idioms. A second category of idioms is what we call semi-literal. So semi-literal, it means that the meaning of the idiom or of the phrase is a little bit more transparent, a little bit clearer from the actual words. So for example, if I say, use something as a stepping stone, well, we know that a stepping stone, there might be stones that go across a river, for example, and you could step on each stone to get across. So for example, if I say this job is just a stepping stone, what I mean is that this job is a way to the next place. It's a way that I can move from my current position to a future one. So that's a little bit more semi-literal. We can understand that a little bit and visualize what the meaning is from the actual words. Another example would be fat chance. Now, fat chance is semi-literal because the meaning is actually the opposite of what it seems to be. So for example, we can understand chance. Chance is a possibility or an opportunity that might come. But fat chance, it seems like that would be a big chance, but it's actually the opposite. It means, yeah, it's very unlikely to happen. It's not a really good possibility. So fat chance is semi-literal in that we can kind of understand it, but there's a twist with the meaning in that it's actually the opposite of what it seems. It's not a big chance, it's a small chance. All right, so we have pure idioms, semi-literal idioms, and the third category would be literal idioms. These are phrases or expressions where the meaning is much more transparent and clear and maybe a little bit more concrete than the other two categories. So for example, if I say in sum, we can know that that means it's going to be a summary. So in summary or in conclusion. If I say throw away, it does mean to discard it or to put it in the garbage, but we can see someone throwing something away from their body, maybe a piece of paper, or they wad up that paper into a ball and then they throw it at the garbage can. So to throw away. Another one would be to go through. To go through is to pass through something. So we might be passing through a tunnel. We might be passing through an obstacle or a difficult season in our life. So to go through is to work our way through something, and we have something kind of surrounding us, whether that's a figurative situation or whether that's an actual tunnel, for example. And then finally, one more example of a literal idiom would be to put on. I put on a coat, I put on a scarf, I put on a hat. And so it's that idea of to wear it. I put it on my body, or I put on perfume so that now it's a part of my presence. So those would be the three categories of idioms. Finally, let's talk about, well, why are idioms important? Why am I even doing this series on my YouTube channel? Well, first of all, I want you to know that idioms are very common in English, especially American or US-based English. And so what I want you to see is that it's important as a learner to become familiar with these phrases for several reasons. The first reason is that idioms are an important part of casual or informal conversation. Native speakers of English don't even realize how many idioms or idiomatic expressions or slang expressions that they use. They do it so naturally, it's just a part of their speech. So in order for you to really interpret the meaning of what's being said to you by native speakers, it's very important to have a command of at least a good number of idioms. Secondly, idioms add color and creativity to language. It makes language a little bit more fun and a little bit more colorful. And so often we use idioms to bring that kind of nuance to language, but also to make it a little bit more fun and less formal. A third reason that idioms are so important is that without them, the speaker can sound very formal. Sometimes native speakers will make a judgment call, like this person is arrogant, or this person is stuffy, or this person is stiff, or maybe even distant. And none of those judgment calls may be correct, but the lack of more casual, informal expressions makes a person feel more formal and more arrogant, and it makes them sound a little bit bookish or academic. So you want to make sure that depending on the relationship you have with the people you're speaking to, with your audience, that you're able to use the right level of formality so that there is a comfortableness, that there's a connection, and that it's appropriate for the level of relationship. A fourth reason that idioms are very important is that native speakers use them, as I said, and are very unaware of them. And so we want to make sure that we're a little bit more familiar so we at least have an idea of the true meaning of what they're saying. A final reason is that idioms are challenging for non-native speakers because the meaning is often not so clear and it can't be easily guessed from the context around it. So it's very important to begin to at least recognize and know the meaning of the idioms. And then as you get more comfortable, even being able to incorporate them into your speech or writing when it's appropriate. So what is the idiom of the week? Idiom of the week is an opportunity to learn about different idiomatic expressions, different phrases, or different phrasal verbs, and to not only understand them, but to begin to be able to use them effectively and appropriately. It's a way for you to learn a little bit about that idiom and then have some time to practice with it, to look for it, to listen for it, and to begin to utilize it in your own communication. Remember, idioms are very informal. They are more casual, and they will make you sound more informal or casual. So you want to make sure that when you use an idiom, it's an appropriate context. It's an appropriate situation for you to do that. You want to make sure that you know the people you're talking to well and that you have a relationship with them that is a little bit closer so that there's an appropriateness or an understanding of the use of that idiom. I hope this gives you a little bit of background about the series that we'll be beginning, and I hope you'll take advantage of tuning in every week for the idiom of the week. It's a great opportunity to expand your vocabulary in this area of idioms or slang. Please give us a thumbs up and share our videos and our channel with your friends. I look forward to you joining me as we get started with this series. Thanks so much. Have a great week.